Imagine buying a truck that outlives your career. You retire, you grow old, your grandchildren learn to drive, and the truck is still running. There are vehicles that can survive a hard day's work, and then there's the Toyota Hilux. This is a truck that has been through floods, deserts, war zones, volcanic eruptions, Arctic winters, and a British television show that tried everything short of a wrecking ball to kill it. And when the wrecking ball did show up, it survived that too. By the end of this video, you'll understand why mechanics, farmers, aid workers, and soldiers on opposite sides of conflicts all agree on one thing. The Hilux might be the closest thing to an immortal machine ever built for the road. If stories like this get your engine running, do us a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Because this story is just getting started. But creating a truck that lasts is easy to talk about. The real question is this: could a simple pickup built in Japan actually survive places where even military vehicles struggle? Could a machine designed for farmers and small businesses become the vehicle trusted by explorers, soldiers, and people fighting for survival? That's the question this entire story is built around, and the answer starts decades before anyone thought to ask it. Back in 1968, Toyota wasn't trying to build a legend. They were trying to build something simple. Japan's economy was rebuilding. Small businesses needed transportation they could actually afford to keep on the road. And Toyota's answer was a compact pickup with no pretensions and no excess. No leather seats, no unnecessary electronics, nothing that could break that didn't absolutely need to be there. That philosophy sounds almost boring on paper. A company deciding that toughness mattered more than comfort. But that single decision, made over half a century ago, would end up creating one of the most feared and respected machines in automotive history. Because while other manufacturers chased horsepower and luxury, Toyota chased something rarer. They chased a truck that refused to die. And that refusal to die didn't happen by accident. It was built into every bolt. Underneath the Hilux sits something most modern trucks have abandoned. A ladder frame chassis, two parallel steel rails that act like the spine of the vehicle. It's an old-school design, but it's also nearly impossible to twist apart, even when the truck is loaded with cargo and grinding over boulders that would send a modern crossover home in pieces. The suspension tells the same story: simple, rugged, engineered for abuse rather than comfort. The diesel engines inside early and modern Hilux models were built naturally aspirated and mechanically simple, which sounds like a disadvantage until you realize what it actually means in the real world. Fewer sensors to fail, fewer computers to short out in the mud. A truck a bush mechanic in the middle of nowhere can actually understand and fix with tools he's had for 20 years. Compare that to trucks packed with touchscreens, drive-by-wire systems, and sensors that require a dealership visit just to diagnose a warning light. Those trucks might feel more advanced in a showroom, but take them somewhere without a service center for 500 miles in any direction. And suddenly, simple starts to look like genius. All of this engineering philosophy sounds reasonable on paper, but nothing proves a theory like trying to destroy it on camera, in front of millions of viewers. And nowhere was that genius put to the test more dramatically than on live television. In the mid-2000s, the hosts of Top Gear decided to find out exactly how hard it was to kill a Hilux. They took a well-worn, high-mileage pickup and did everything they could think of. They drove it into a tree. They parked it on a beach and let the incoming tide swallow it whole in seawater. They dropped it from a height. They set it on fire. Then, for the finale, they placed it on top of a tower block that was scheduled for demolition and detonated the entire building around it. Picture that for a second. A pickup truck sitting on a rooftop as an entire structure collapses beneath it in a cloud of dust and debris. And when the dust cleared, the crew dug the truck out, turned the key, and it started. But here's the question: was this just a lucky truck surviving a television stunt, or was Toyota's engineering philosophy actually different from everyone else? Keep that question in mind, because the answer shows up again and again. In the Arctic, in the outback, under the hood, and in the mouths of owners who refuse to sell. That single moment turned a workhorse into a legend because it wasn't a stunt truck built for the segment. It was a used Hilux that had already lived a hard life before the cameras ever showed up. But here's the part most people don't realize. That demolition test wasn't even the toughest thing a Hilux would go on to survive. Because a few years later, the same show sent a modified Hilux somewhere far more punishing than a British rooftop. And this time, there were no cameras waiting to save the day if it failed. Television stunts are one thing. Real-world survival, day after day, in the harshest environments on the planet, is another story entirely. That tougher test came in 2007, when the Top Gear team took a specially modified Hilux and set out to do something no motor vehicle had done before: drive to the magnetic North Pole. Fitted with oversized Arctic tires designed to float across snow instead of sinking into it, the truck crossed frozen sea ice, buckled pack ice, and brutal sub-zero temperatures, racing against a traditional dog sled the entire way. It broke through ice, it got stuck. Parts of it were damaged along the route, and it still became the first vehicle in history to reach that remote shifting point on the planet. No demolition crew, no safety net, just a pickup truck, a frozen wasteland, and a job that had never been done before. And if a modified Hilux could do that, it's no surprise what ordinary, unmodified ones are doing every single day in the harshest corners of the working world. In the Australian outback, where the nearest mechanic might be hours away and temperatures swing from scorching heat to freezing nights, the Hilux has become the default choice for ranchers and mining crews who simply cannot afford a breakdown. Across African deserts, aid organizations rely on it to reach communities that other vehicles can't. In the high mountains of South America, in Arctic research expeditions, in remote villages with no paved roads at all, the same pattern repeats itself again and again. These aren't people choosing a truck because of a badge or a marketing campaign. These are people whose survival, whose income, whose entire operation depends on a vehicle that starts every single morning. And when you ask them why they picked the Hilux over something flashier, the answer is almost always the same. It simply does not quit. So what's actually happening under the skin that makes this possible? Because the truth is, most people have no idea how deliberate this durability really is. What Toyota engineers quietly prioritized inside this truck changed everything that came after it. Toyota famously over-engineers key components of the Hilux using parts rated well beyond what the truck's advertised specifications would suggest they need to handle. The drivetrain is built with a margin of strength most manufacturers would consider wasteful. The engines are tuned conservatively, running well below their theoretical limits, which sounds like leaving performance on the table until you realize that restraint is exactly what lets these engines run for hundreds of thousands of miles without falling apart. The cooling systems are oversized, the corrosion protection is aggressive, and Toyota's testing process for the Hilux reportedly includes some of the harshest torture testing in the industry, simulating years of abuse in a fraction of the time before a single unit ever reaches a customer. It's not one secret. It's dozens of small decisions, stacked on top of each other, all pointing in the same direction. Build it to survive people who don't take care of it. And the next stories might be the most unbelievable proof of that philosophy on record. Take Jack Morris, a station owner working more than 100,000 square kilometers of rural Queensland. His 1983 Hilux had already covered 70,000 kilometers when he bought it secondhand in 1991. By the time anyone thought to ask, it had passed 650,000 kilometers of daily station work out in some of the most unforgiving cattle country on the planet. Then there's the 1980 Hilux, sold in America simply as the Toyota pickup, that became a genuine 1 million mile truck. It didn't get there gently. 2 weeks after the original owner drove it home, he crashed it into another car and had a roll cage welded into the cab. From there, it went on to compete in off-road rallies for years, jumping it, cracking leaf springs, blowing shocks, and somehow refusing to actually quit. The original engine ran for over 400,000 miles before the owner swapped it out, not because it failed, but because he wanted more power. Its replacement has already added another 600,000. And in Brazil, one 1998 Hilux has reportedly crossed 2.5 million kilometers, the equivalent of circling the entire planet more than 60 times, still running on its original engine and factory exhaust, maintained the entire way not by luck, but by an owner who treated every scheduled service like a ritual. These aren't garage queens polished for car shows. These are trucks that have been rained on, buried in mud, overloaded, underserviced, or meticulously maintained, and somehow, either way, they just kept going. But a legend is not created without competition. For decades, other manufacturers built trucks that were faster, more powerful, and packed with more technology. So why did the Hilux become the name people whispered when they talked about survival? None of this means the Hilux was ever the fastest truck on the market, or the most powerful, or the most luxurious. It rarely won a drag race against a Ford Ranger, a Chevrolet Colorado, a Nissan Navara, or a Mitsubishi Triton. Those trucks all have their own strengths, and plenty of loyal owners who would argue just as hard for them. But somewhere along the way, while other manufacturers competed on horsepower and features, Toyota kept competing on something harder to market and harder to fake: whether the truck would still be running in 20 years, which raises a question worth sitting with. Is durability more important than horsepower? For a weekend driver, maybe not. For the people this truck was actually built for, it might be the only thing that matters at all. But here's where we have to be honest with you. Because no machine, no matter how legendary, is actually indestructible. The Hilux can rust, especially older models that spent years exposed to salt air or road salt in winter climates. Push any engine far enough past its limits, skip maintenance for long enough, or put it through an accident severe enough, and it will fail like anything else built by human hands. The legend isn't that the Hilux cannot be broken. The legend is how much abuse it can absorb before that happens, and how far past the point where other trucks would have already died. That's the real distinction, not immortality. Endurance so far beyond expectation that it might as well feel like the same thing. So is the Toyota Hilux truly indestructible. No machine really is, but across deserts, Arctic ice, war zones, television stunts, and half a century of daily grinding work, it has come closer to that idea than almost anything else with four wheels. Some trucks are built to impress. Others are built to last. But the Toyota Hilux was built to become a legend. Long after today's luxury trucks have become outdated, there's a good chance a dusty old Hilux will still be climbing a mountain somewhere, carrying supplies to a village, pulling a farmer through another season, or helping someone get home. It won't be the newest truck on the road. It won't be the fastest. But it might just be the last one still running. And that's how legends are made, because legends are not created in showrooms. They are created on broken roads, in impossible conditions, and in the hands of people who depend on them every single day. After more than 50 years, millions of kilometers, and countless impossible journeys, the Toyota Hilux has earned something no advertising campaign can manufacture: the trust of people whose lives depend on it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss our next adventure. And tell us in the comments, which truck do you think comes closest to matching the legendary Toyota Hilux? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.